This is CBC Winnipeg News.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us. He was tapped to lead Manitoba's new DC trade office. But CBC News has learned former reporter and White House correspondent Richard Madden is bringing in a hefty paycheck. Hired by Wab Kinew earlier this year, his salary is nearly double the Premier's. And as Bartley Kivas reports, that has some questioning what taxpayers are actually getting from it.
When Donald Trump returned to the White House and trade tensions with Canada began to rise, Manitoba Premier Wab Kinew promised to create a new trade office in Washington, D.C. In June, Kinew unveiled his choice to run that office. Richard Madden, a former CTV and CBC reporter, most recently based in Washington. On the day he was introduced, Madden explained what he brought to the table.
I've covered Washington for over almost a decade, so I know the players. I know, I've got a fairly decent Rolodex, and my role is to just be a facilitator, help get those meetings that could potentially lead to something more lucrative down the road.
Madden's U.S. trade office has an annual budget of $800,000. Soon after his appointment, CBC News started asking the government to disclose how much Madden is being paid. CBC News filed a Freedom of Information request in July, but didn't receive a response. Then on Wednesday, the Premier's office disclosed Madden will earn $387,000 this year. This is nearly double Wab Kinew's salary as Premier and only $19,000 less than what Mark Carney is making as Prime Minister. PC leader Abi Khan, who's called Madden a CBC buddy of Kinew, who runs a work-from-home trade office, says $387,000 is too much to pay a former reporter.
Will the Premier today point to a single trade deal that justifies paying his friend $400,000 a year?
Richard Madden's a great guy. He's got the smarts. Order. He's got the looks. He's got the connections to make the case for Manitoba and Washington, D.C.
Kinew said Madden will serve a crucial role in the forthcoming renegotiation of the Canada-US-Mexico trade agreement. The Premier's office also noted Madden is being paid roughly the same as some other provincial trade reps. Some of those reps, however, have more experience in business and trade than the former journalist. Kinew said Madden is a storyteller who can make Manitoba's case. Bartley Kivas, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Staff shortages have plagued our healthcare system for years, but an Interlake handy van service thinks it could be part of the solution facing rural ambulances. They're already transporting non-emergent patients for appointments, tests, and procedures, and now they want to expand. And as the CBC's Josh Crabb reports, the offer to help comes as union leaders sound the alarm over rural ambulance staffing.
A trip to the emergency department in Gimli this past March for 72-year-old Greg Klein left him hospitalized with chest pain and in need of an angiogram. But his wife Heather says it was delayed 3 days because there was no ambulance available to take him into Winnipeg for the test.
They had ordered the ambulance, and so he was waiting and waiting and waiting, and it just never showed up.
The union representing rural paramedics says Manitoba is short paramedics, including in the Interlake. Jason Linklater with the Manitoba Association of Healthcare Professionals says that's impacting medical transports like the one Klein needed.
Unfortunately, it's not uncommon.
A handy van service in the Interlake wants to be one part of the solution. Age Mobility runs out of Ericsdale and Ashern and already takes some non-emergent patients to hospitals for medical appointments. Chairperson Keith Lundale says the organization is applying to the province to expand to a stretcher service so they can help more people.
I think it's a good relationship we could have, taking that away from EMS so they can provide exactly what they're designed to do, is emergent care.
Progressive Conservative health critic Kathleen Cook says the priority should be on hiring more paramedics.
Because there are patients who require paramedic level care in an ambulance in order to be transferred, and that's where the province's focus needs to be.
Manitoba's health minister says in a statement patient transfers that require medical supervision are only done by licensed providers. Uzoma Asaguera says the government is working with Shared Health to recruit and retain paramedics, but for some like the Kleins, that work isn't happening fast enough. While Greg eventually got a test showing his heart was okay, the delay has shaken the couple's confidence in the EMS system. Josh Crabb, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Prime Minister Mark Carney is promising to get tough on crime with new legislation to strengthen the criminal code. At the center of the policy is bail reform, making it much harder to get for those accused of violent and organized crime, including auto theft, break-and-enter, assault, sexual assault, human trafficking, and extortion.
With so-called reverse onus bail, it will no longer be up to the Crown to prove why someone should stay behind bars. It will be up to the accused to prove to the court why they can be trusted to be released. Their risk of reoffending and their history of past 10 years will be considered.
Carney said legislation introduced next week will allow for consecutive sentencing for violent crimes, organized crime, and repeat offenders, so multiple sentences aren't served at the same time, while also announcing plans today to hire 1,000 new RCMP officers. Now, news of bail reform is welcome to some here in Manitoba, but for others, they say it may pose challenges for marginalized communities. Felicia Adam has local reaction.
Michelle and Ron Best heard the news Thursday afternoon.
It's absolutely a huge step in the right direction.
The couple has advocated for bail reform since their daughter Kelly Veraway was killed in a 3-vehicle crash earlier this year. The accused was out on bail at the time with a warrant out for his arrest.
We don't need baby steps right now. We need great big changes to this bail system.
Prime Minister Mark Carney says his government will table legislation looking to create strong reforms on bail and sentencing.
We're getting violent criminals and repeat offenders off the streets, full stop.
This is the very beginning of the federal government starting to take the responsibilities that they need to address, which will then in turn allow the provinces to take the steps they need to address.
Mayor Scott Gillingham agrees.
We cannot just stand by and let violent repeat criminals continue to be out on our streets, wreaking havoc and being a threat to our community. We need legislative changes.
The legislation would mean the defense would have to prove why the accused should get bail. Offenses would include violent auto theft, break-and-enters, and sexual assault. Aidan Enns is the executive director of the John Howard Society of Manitoba. He worries the changes will impact marginalized groups and worsen the problem.
We're going to have more people in custody, and in the end, it won't be a big help.
The organization runs various programs, including bail navigation, and says while some people do commit violent crimes while out on bail, it's rare.
We should not make our legislation on the rare, terrible situations, as grievous as they are, as tragic as they are.
Enns believes more attention should go towards resources.
But a smart thing to do would be to address social programs, housing, and mental health supports for individuals, so we're less likely to have more people involved in crime.
Ron and Michelle Best say they're waiting to see how the legislation would improve things on the ground in Manitoba. Felicia Adams, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Premier Wab Kinew says the NDP will ensure future governments won't be able to use the Notwithstanding clause without first having a judge weigh in. The clause allows provinces to override parts of the Charter of Rights and Freedoms for 5 years. Kinew says the NDP bill would force a future government trying to invoke it to lay out the argument to an appeals court judge. Now, that judge wouldn't be able to stop the process, but could comment on the merit of the case.
The Notwithstanding clause is routinely being used by politicians who are targeting vulnerable minorities, targeting the LGBTQ2S+ communities, targeting religious people.
Opposition leader Abi Khan says the clause has never been used in Manitoba. He accused Kinew of engaging in hypotheticals to distract from the NDP government's record on other issues. All right, damp day out there. Let's get a first check on our forecast with weather specialist Darius Madavi.
Thanks, Riley. Well, we had some storms rolling through just south of Manitoba today, a few of them passing up north of the border, but for the most part, the worst of it was confined down south in the States and passing into Ontario. Now, we're not entirely out of the woods yet by any means. Some more lightning is possible over the next few hours and into the overnight hours, but I would say for sure that down south got the brunt of it. Now, some of that rain is going to continue heading further up north as well. You can see that here, some of it making its way into the more northeastern corners of the province, and a little bit of snow is possible in very isolated areas as well. But for the most part, we're going to stay warm enough that it will be falling as rain. We'll talk later in the show about what that means in terms of the snow that's already in the ground in some of those areas. But first, let's zoom in on Winnipeg and just talk a little bit about what you can expect to see tonight. Again, possibility of a few storms, but our overnight low is quite high at 12 degrees, when normal for this year is just -1. As we get into tomorrow, expect things to slowly improve, but some light rain will likely continue into the early afternoon.
All right, thanks, Darius. Coming up, it stood in the middle of Portage Place Mall for decades. But is time up for this 120-year-old timepiece? That answer coming up. Stay with us. The town of Virden is warning residents to conserve water as much as possible. This as dropping aquifer levels threaten its water supply. As the CBC's Chelsea Kemp reports, they are now in a race against time to dig a new well and secure a new water supply for residents and businesses.
Water is becoming a precious commodity in Virden. Last week, the town declared emergency response measures because its aquifer level is too low. Faye Horn says her flowers need consistent and quality water.
Very worried. We depend on water for our business and the quality. We need good quality too to protect the flowers.
Mayor Tina Williams says the low levels were discovered this summer during drought conditions.
Right now, we are in the process of getting off of that aquifer. It's the aquifer that we went into the summer of 2021, and we've realized that it cannot support our town.
Restaurant owner Tamana Kalia is following updates closely. She trusts the town to keep water flowing. Kalia hasn't noticed changes in water quality or pressure so far, but is ready to cut back as needed.
We will try to use less water if there is water levels going down, because that's our responsibility.
Resident Will Adair says he's frustrated with the town for letting levels get low enough to force emergency measures.
It's ridiculous considering we just had this redone like 3-4 years ago, and we're still paying for the screw up that's going on right now.
Until the new well is ready, Horn says she's cutting back on water where she can. She's also willing to pay more for a new well.
If it's good water, I'm willing to pay a little more because we don't have good water right now.
Williams says the town's goal is to have new water flowing as soon as possible. Until it is, residents are being asked to conserve water. Chelsea Kemp, CBC News, Virden.
A new survey from Probe Research suggests almost half of Canadians who follow the CFL support proposed rule changes for the league. However, more people think now is not the time to make the CFL more like the NFL. Bartley Kivas reports.
That is up, and it is wide.
The missed field goal return may soon be a thing of the past. The Canadian Football League is planning a series of rule changes over the next 2 years. They include a 35-second play clock and fewer single points next year, followed by smaller fields and moving goalposts to the back of the end zones in 2027. Probe Research asked 1,200 Canadians earlier this month what they thought of the changes. 42% who follow the CFL said they support them or are okay with them. But 64% said now is not the time to make the CFL more like the American game.
It's a classic marketing dilemma.
Curtis Brown is a principal with Probe Research. He says the CFL is trying to grow its product while maintaining its existing fans.
You run the risk when you do make some of those changes, you're going to upset your purists, your diehards, the people who come and watch games all the time, watch it on TV, see the CFL as a distinctly Canadian game.
The Probe survey suggested even less support for the rule changes in Manitoba, where the Winnipeg Blue Bombers sell out most of their games. The Probe poll used an online sample. A comparative random sample would have an error margin of 2.8%. Bartley Kivas, CBC News, Winnipeg.
It has stood the test of time and has kept Winnipeggers on time for 120 years. The clock tower in Portage Place. It's kept watch above the middle of the mall for decades, but with a major transformation well underway, some are asking what will happen to it next. The CBC's Mike Arsenault shows us what comes next for the century-old timepiece.
Just like the scene from Back to the Future, the question in Winnipeg is, who will save the clock tower? The Edmonton Court Clock, better known as the clock in Portage Place, has been sitting in the center of the old mall for almost 40 years. True North says when work started on the Portage Place redevelopment project, they looked for someone to take the old timepiece.
We did canvass widely on the clock tower and got no bites in terms of anybody wanting to take it over.
The clock was first put on display for Winnipeggers in 1903 when it sat on top of the old gingerbread City Hall. When that building was demolished in 1962, the city dismantled the clock and preserved it until 1987, when it was given a new home in the center of Portage Place.
The first public clocks in Winnipeg, so that was a big deal to put those in.
Executive Director of Heritage Winnipeg, Cindy Tugwell, says True North reached out to her to see if she wanted to save the clock. She was shocked to learn the city didn't take it.
Clearly 40 years ago when they put it in Portage Place, they thought it was important. And in 1962 when it was demolished, they thought it was very important to be able to store it and use it one day in another project. So I explained the need for having to protect it.
Tugwell says she worked with the city to store the clock. She says it's important to preserve our city's history.
I'd like to see someone come to Winnipeg year 400 and say, wow, and were they ever smart 300-400 years ago that they would protect this?
In a statement to CBC, the city says, the city has taken steps to make sure the tower and mechanics of the clock are preserved with construction now underway at Portage Place. We won't be the long-term owners of the clock, but we are actively looking for a future home for the historic clock. Tugwell would like to see it put on top of the current City Hall building.
And that's where it belongs. It's a city, piece of city's history, very important piece of the city's history.
Tugwell says as far as she knows, the clock is the only piece of memorabilia that was saved from the old City Hall. Mike Arsenault, CBC News, Winnipeg.
All right, let's bring back weather specialist Darius Madavi now. And Darius, after a bit of a stormy weekend last weekend, I think many Manitobans are looking for a bit of a makeup this coming up weekend here.
Well, Riley, as promised, I want to talk a little more about the snow that is on the ground in parts of Manitoba. This graphic here shows us the modeled snow depths, not the snow that's coming, but what's already on the ground. We may see increases, as I've mentioned earlier, in some very small isolated areas, but for the most part, we're only seeing the amount of snow in Manitoba shrink. So we're going to see some gains over in more western sections of Canada where I am, but in Manitoba, temperatures are definitely getting high enough during the day, and in many places where there's snow on the ground, even staying above zero overnight. So we're only going to see that continue to shrink over the next few days. Now, that doesn't mean that we're entirely out of the woods in terms of some more active systems. They're not going to be quite as wintry, but we do have a Colorado low coming up from, well, I think you can figure where it's coming from. That is going to be sucking in some moisture from down in the Gulf as well. Just wait for this to load in. There we go. That low pressure system, as you can see, sweeping up from the south and heading over to parts of Manitoba. Again, drawing that moisture up from the Gulf, as you can see here. And that's going to be, has brought already some rain to parts of southern Manitoba. We'll continue to push it up into more northern areas. So expect to see some of that rain wash away the snow in the areas where they overlap. But for the most part, we're not talking crazy accumulations of that rainfall. Most areas not seeing more than, or pretty much nowhere seeing more than 20 millimeters. Some areas, as you get up into the more northeastern sections, will start to see higher accumulations. But for the most part, we're not looking at anything crazy. I don't think anywhere will get over 35, maybe 40 millimeters of rain over the next few days. But of course, we may see that rain return as we get into early next week in many areas. Now, here's the wind forecast. This is also going to be a little bit of excitement, you could say. Down in the southeastern sections, wind gusts reaching in most areas 30, 40 kilometers per hour, but some isolated spots may get up to 50. As that system continues to move up into the more northeastern areas, there we could see wind gusts reaching up to 60 kilometers per hour. And for the most part, those strong wind gusts in the southeast are going to be happening tomorrow, especially down into those later hours, and up in the northeast, actually pretty similar timing into Friday. We may see them pick up again this weekend, but not as big a risk. Now, here's the 3-day forecast. In Winnipeg, we've got a few showers that continue into tomorrow morning after a more stormy night tonight. Once we get into the weekend, things definitely clear up. In fact, by the time we get into Friday evening, we'll probably see drier skies. And yeah, only sunshine on the way. Again, very warm tonight, overnight, but those overnight lows do start to drop once we get into tomorrow.
All right, thanks so much, Darius. Hoping for that sunshine on the weekend. I think we all deserve it at this point. We have more ahead right after this. Stay with us. Welcome back. It will be one of the biggest construction projects in our city's history. $757 million to widen Kenaston Boulevard, expropriate properties, and replace the St. James Bridge. But some homeowners in the area feel like they are left in limbo with all of this, with talk about widening Kenaston spanning decades and no concrete plans. The CBC's Felicia Adam reports.
For over 2 decades, Carol Stiles has kept a pile of city plans outlining the expansion of Kenaston Boulevard.
It just gets grander and grander.
The red markings on each map represent how much of her lot would remain. In some renderings, it's small, and in others, it's larger.
In 2018, we're still standing, but we've got a chunk of our property taken off and maybe a bigger backyard. 2003, was a little bit more generous, but somewhere along the line, the newer plans start to jump right out of the roadbed and fully onto homes.
The city's current plan will see Kenaston Boulevard expand from 4 to 6 lanes, running from Taylor to Ness Avenue. It would include repairs to the St. James Bridge and active transportation paths and landscaping.
It's been really difficult to ascertain what actually is the plan.
But whether or not Stiles' home in River Heights would be impacted is something she's been bracing for with uncertainty since 2001.
I'll tell you, it's the one they just posted, but that's what we were told in the 09 plan, the 2012 plan, the 2018 plan, 2023, etc.
City Council is set to vote on putting aside $5 million in the 2026 budget to begin expropriating 78 homes. If agreed on, construction would start by 2027. The price tag for the full project would be $757 million.
Yeah, it's a steep price, but long-term benefits are definitely something that the city needs to look into. So to be able to have it widen would just free up a lot of traffic in the area and not as much congestion and stuff like that, and just better travel time.
And while Stiles agrees the road needs work and would benefit the community, she's fed up with the uncertainty she's faced for 24 years.
Don't start knocking down houses until you're uber clear it's on with a date and you have the money lined up. Otherwise, it's just irresponsible.
Leaving her and her neighbors stuck, not knowing what comes next. Felicia Adam, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Now, further south on Kenaston, the First Nations group that owns the former Kapyong Barracks site says it needs a land swap with the city in order for that expansion to move forward. Treaty One Nation says they have plans for the Noe-Odina site, and the expansion of Kenaston will be beneficial to them as well. But they're losing a strip of land equal to about 10 acres.
At Notwithstanding, the former Kapyong Barracks, are very valuable lands. So it's been, we've been identifying sites, we've been working with the city and trying to find areas that would be, reflective of that value. So, for us, we just want to make sure that when we do the exchange, that those lands are suitable for economic development as well, because that's our main priority on the site.
Treaty One is hoping that expansion moves forward as quickly as possible because the construction will have an impact on their projects. Information Radio was live this morning at the Stellas at Grant and Kenaston. CBC's Marcy Marcusa spoke with Mayor Scott Gillingham and asked him about some of the concerns area residents and drivers have.
You have said this is not negotiable. We need to do this. Why do we need to do it?
Well, first of all, we do need to do it because we're not making decisions for the present state of Winnipeg. We're making decisions for the future state of Winnipeg. And, people often refer to it, I've heard you refer to it a couple of times, as the widening of Kenaston. This is not just the widening of Kenaston. The widening of Kenaston is one of many projects in this work. And it's about a third of the total cost. What is really critical is we need to renew the bridges. As you've indicated, 78,000 vehicles go over those bridges every day. And Kenaston, it's not a local road. It's not a residential street. It is one of the main transportation economic arteries in all of Winnipeg. And what we've got right now is we have the southwest of Winnipeg, which is quadrupled in its population in the last 50 years. It's the fastest growing part of the city. The northwest is growing rapidly as well. And Route 90 connects those two communities. And right across the street from where we're sitting today is Notwithstanding.
Yeah, they're going to be on the air with us after 8.
Which will be the largest infill project in Winnipeg's history. It's one of the largest infill projects in all of Western Canada, and that will accommodate, at full build-out, about 3,000 residents, another 1 million square feet of commercial space. So the growth is happened, and it's going to happen even more.
What do you take to Larry's challenge? You heard him say, 78,000 vehicles, but he figures that's about 10% up from the 90s. So that doesn't seem like that big of a number from the 90s to have that increase. Why are you confident that moving forward it's going to be even more? Because of some of what you mentioned?
At a minimum, we're going to be adding 3,000 units of housing, which, whatever that translates to into the number of people and vehicles. And our economy continues to grow. What we've got right now is the section that we're talking about of Kenaston that needs the work. The bridges, the sewer work, the adding of bike lanes to this area, improving our transportation, the widening of the road. It's a choke point right now. Anyone who has driven Kenaston Boulevard knows that this is a choke point in the whole system, in the largest, or probably the most, the busiest transportation routes.
When will residents have clear answers about whether or not their properties are going to be needed for this? You have 78 properties on the books, because people are in limbo. And they also say, by the way, Carol, who we'll hear from after 8, would say she doesn't want to leave the impression out there that she doesn't think things need to be done, the bridges and the roadways. It's just she feels the communication hasn't been clear. She doesn't know if her house is going to go or not. She doesn't know why bikes couldn't be going on parallel routes. Why do you have to widen it even more to have, parallel active transportation? She just feels like the process has been a little bit muddy. So when will people know if they're going to get their houses bought?
Well, as these projects progress, then certainly that communication would continue. If people need information they don't have right now, please reach out to the city and ask for that information. We'll try to get it to you. What we've got before us right now is a report that recommends we put $5 million into the city's 2026 budget to purchase lands that are needed.
So you heard the mayor touch on housing a bit there. Well, the Canadian Real Estate Association released its latest snapshot today of the national housing market. At first look, the picture may seem confusing, with the number of homes sold in the nation dropping in September compared to August, but increasing significantly compared to a year earlier. Lisa Shing explains.
September's home sales were down by 1.7% compared with August. That ended a series of gains that started back in April. The reason for that slump: fewer people buying homes in cities like Greater Vancouver, Calgary, Edmonton, Ottawa, and Montreal. But the Greater Toronto Area and Winnipeg seeing sales tick up. And even though in September the Bank of Canada lowered interest rates, the Canadian Real Estate Association senior economist says we might not see the effects of that until later in the fall. Even with this dip, the number of sales was still up compared with the last several years. In fact, up 5.2% compared with the same time in 2024, and the highest it's been since 2021. The average cost of a home nationally hasn't changed much since the last month, but is down about 3.4% compared with a year ago. Now, Korea's economist says some of the more affordable markets, like in the prairies, East Coast, and Quebec, are starting to slow down a bit, while BC and Ontario are picking back up. But while the Canadian Real Estate Association forecasts continued momentum into 2026, there are a few uncertainties, namely U.S. President Donald Trump's continuing trade war, which had dampened its forecast earlier this year and could do so again. Lisa Shing, CBC News, Toronto.
Speaking of the U.S. president, Donald Trump has issued a new threat to Hamas amid continuing bloodshed between the militant group and armed clans. In a social media post, he said that, quote, "If Hamas continues to kill people in Gaza, we will have no choice but to go in and kill them." This comes as Israel and the militant group continue to accuse each other of violating the ceasefire, and as tensions rise over the delayed return of hostages' remains. Tom Perry has the latest.
We're hearing a lot of anger still coming out of Israel over Hamas's failure to deliver the remains of all 28 deceased Israeli hostages that it had been holding in Gaza. Hamas has so far returned the bodies of just 9 Israeli hostages. It says that's really all it can do at this point. It says the devastation in Gaza makes it very difficult to track down individual bodies. It's asked for help and special equipment to try to track down the remaining Israeli hostages who have died. Now, Israel says that that's just not good enough. They say that this amounts to Hamas breaching the terms of the ceasefire agreement between Israel and Hamas. We heard Benjamin Netanyahu today talking about how he is determined to get the bodies of all Israeli hostages back. And this really has bled over into the attempts to get more aid into Gaza. Right now, you've got 2 entrances from Israel into Gaza in which aid is flowing through there. Aid trucks are getting into Gaza. Food and medicine and supplies are being delivered. I was speaking today with an aid worker in Gaza who says that there's a sense of cautious optimism there, but there's also a sense that really the efforts need to be stepped up. Now, the United Nations has said it wants to see all entrances into Gaza opened up, and that includes the Rafah crossing, which goes from Egypt into Gaza. Right now, the Israelis are saying that they will open up Rafah at some point to people going back and forth. So that means a lot of people coming out of Gaza to get medical treatment in Egypt. The issue is the Israelis are saying that they will not allow humanitarian assistance to go into Gaza.
We're all advocating for opening the crossings, facilitating our access inside Gaza, making sure there is law and order so people can actually also move freely inside the Gaza Strip and be able to reach the distribution points and make sure that they're able to feel safe while moving around.
So all passages into Gaza need to be opened up. That's not the case right now. But as I say, the United Nations aid groups say that's got to happen. They say the people in Gaza need all the help they can get. Tom Perry, CBC News, Cairo.
After the break, big night for sports fans. Not only are the Jets in action tonight, but there's also a big baseball game. We'll set that up for you next. All right, well, get ready for a big night of sports. The Toronto Blue Jays are back in action tonight and back in contention following last night's lopsided victory over Seattle in Game 3 of the American League Championship Series. The CBC's Jamie Strachan takes this look at the reignited hope.
Blue Jays go. As the sun came up in Seattle, Blue Jay colors visible everywhere. A sense of pride and relief after last night's win.
I think every day is a new day for Blue Jays fans. Every day is an adventure, so hopefully the boys can pull it off tonight too.
This is Victor Robles down to Guerrero, and that is going to do it.
The key word for this edition of the Blue Jays, resiliency.
We were covered with Mariner fans, and they were giving it to us in the first inning, and by the third inning when we scored the 5 runs, they were actually they were the ones dejected, and we were the ones that were happy.
Fly ball, right center.
To say the bats came alive, an understatement.
And here's George Springer.
5 home runs, 18 hits, and just when all seemed lost, the Jays are right back in this series.
Look at this one go, way back into the seats.
I think the nature of this team is a lot like Canada in a way. They have a kind of a soft, resistant, and adamant approach to playing the game. They have a kind of a assertive politeness, I think, a little bit like Canada.
For the Blue Jays, that down but not out attitude has been a theme.
It's kind of been what we did all year, Again, no one expected us to win the division. No one expected us to be here, and I think the guys take that to heart.
In Game 4, the Jays turned to 41-year-old Max Scherzer, a future Hall of Famer who has shown flashes of brilliance this season, but has struggled recently.
I still ride the roller coaster. I just realized, things can change on a dime. I mean, you can be as low as possible, and all of a sudden things can be as high as possible.
Many Jays fans who only planned to stay in Seattle for one game, now sticking around for Game 4. Hoping to keep this ride going. A win tonight would have the Blue Jays and their fans feeling on top of the world, or at least on top of Seattle. Some optimism after everything seemed so bleak. Jamie Strachan, CBC News, Seattle.
Okay, so many Canadians, as we take a look out from the roof of our building here, hoping for a Blue Jays win tonight. Jets are in action in Philadelphia. We're hoping for a win there, of course. But let's bring back Darius Madavi now. And Darius, I think what a lot of Manitobans are also hoping for is that Winnipeg Blue Bombers win tomorrow over the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
Well, Riley, I'll be honest, I may not know much about the CFL, but I do know the weather, and what I can tell you is that if you're going to be at the game tomorrow, things aren't looking too bad. We are definitely going to be a little bit cooler than we are tonight, but temperature's not too bad, sticking around 9 degrees. The winds should be calm by that point. And for the most part, we should be seeing dry skies. Those light showers that we're seeing in the morning should be tapering off by early afternoon, maybe lingering until like 3 or 4 p.m. But by the time we see kickoff, it should be just cloudy, and that should continue to clear as we see the game continue. So best of luck. Now, I also want to talk about the dog walking forecast because, Riley, I can never do your weather without talking about the dog walking forecast. This is Sully. Thank you to Samantha and Scott for sending in this adorable photo. What a great pup. Now, tomorrow, as I said, we are going to see that rain. We may see it taper off at times because, again, it will be mostly showers. We'll see it come in and out, so you may see a window earlier in the morning to take your dog for a walk, but the afternoon and evening is definitely going to be when you're going to want to do your longer walk if you're trying to stay dry. The other thing I wanted to mention, we do have a chance of an aurora overnight tonight. We have a strong moderate solar storm coming in. We're talking about a KP5 or so. What that means is basically what I said, moderate potential for aurora activity. You can see that line here, and you'll notice pretty much all of Manitoba included in that line. So some potentially good news. What's driving this is this sunspot here, 4246, this region of the sun, been very active recently. And 2 days ago, we saw it have several coronal mass ejections. So there's these big masses of charged particles, 3 of them heading towards Earth, which means as those interact with Earth's magnetosphere, we could see some pretty active skies. If you're in an area that is going to have some clear skies, you could be in for a pretty good show, especially in more northern sections of Manitoba. But again, pretty much the entire province is far enough north that as long as everything goes according to plan, you should see some good skies. The other thing I wanted to say, the moon also lining up pretty well. We got a crescent moon tonight. That means less light pollution. If you can get out of the city, everything's really going your way, except for maybe the cloud. Overnight tonight, we may see some higher cloud concentrations in more southern sections of Manitoba, or I should say we will, not we could. And in more northern areas, that's where we see some clear skies at times. If you're in this area here, this is going to be your best bet because you don't have to stay up too late to get a good look. Riley?
Okay, thanks, Darius. Thanks, Darius. So northern Manitoba, if you catch a glimpse, send those pictures my way, please. The impact of climate change is all around us. Extreme weather events, rising sea levels, and melting ice are a growing problem. A lesser-known impact is the proliferation of invasive weeds, a problem that has Canadian farmers struggling to adapt. Helena Mahalik explains.
We had a big frost here about 10 days ago.
Jake Legui surveys this year's crops in disappointment.
Some of it obviously survived.
His flax and lentils choked out by an invasive tumbleweed. This weed, known as kochia, has always thrived in drought conditions. Now, its resistance to herbicides is growing, and it's costing farmers.
One seed turns into thousands.
Last year, Legui says he spent $100,000 on a weed exterminator add-on to his combine.
Right underneath there is the hammer mill.
That's on top of the hundreds of thousands spent annually on herbicides, but nothing has tamed the beast.
Every time we're out in the field, we're spraying for kochia.
Experts say while kochia has been confined to the southern prairies for years, it's rapidly spreading, even detected as far north as Alberta's Peace Country, moving in that direction as a result of climate change and deforestation.
Cutting down tree lines, which would block the wind, so now it has prairie that's wide open that it can just tumble and fly through. We have different crops laid out, and to see how well they are able to compete.
Now, Agri-Food Canada scientists are stepping up, putting research into ways to clamp down on kochia, but a lack of existing research making it hard to track its patterns.
We don't have a lot of data on how these plants are interacting, how the weeds might be interacting with other things in the environment.
Food production becoming more challenging the more resistance these weeds develop to herbicides.
It could decrease the ability of our farm to turn a profit.
Farmers hope scientists are successful in eradicating these weeds, which are costing farmers money, time, and crop yields. Helena Mahalik, CBC News, Fillmore, Saskatchewan.
Well, the Prince Edward Island now, where the countryside could soon be a little less smelly, researchers are trying out a new way of using manure. The first tests show it's better for the environment and makes life happier for neighbors as well. Nancy Russell reports.
This PEI dairy farm has been testing out a new way of spreading manure, injecting it directly into the soil instead of spraying it, the way it has traditionally been done. These researchers have been comparing the results, including the greenhouse gas emissions. And so far, they say, the results have been impressive.
We were able to see a 35% reduction in nitrous oxide losses using the injection method compared to the conventional broadcast, which is significant.
Smith says a reduction in the gases being released means the nitrogen is staying in the soil, and the manure can do its work more effectively.
If you can save your nitrogen from your manure, you don't otherwise have to supplement with inorganic fertilizers.
They milk about 65 cows a day here at Red Oak Farms. The manure from the cows is a steady source of free fertilizer, which they are now injecting into the field.
We're getting it right down into the soil where the roots of the next crop will be to soak up those nutrients. And another benefit we've noticed is less odor from the manure, which again, the neighbors like that too, I think.
The manure injection can also save money.
Especially in a time when fertilizer costs are extremely volatile. There's a lot of geopolitical factors that are sort of shaking that market from year to year.
There's another PEI farm that is part of this project, looking at something called a dribble bar to apply manure. This equipment for injecting manure cost about $120,000, with some funding from the On-Farm Climate Action Fund.
It's a great system that is definitely demonstrating clear benefits in terms of our emissions loss, but also in terms of potential nutrient savings, reducing the amount of fertilizer we're using.
Trying to get a beneficial management practice that all farmers can use, anybody that's applying manure.
Smith says the research team hopes to be back on the farm next year to get a better understanding of the impacts of applying manure in new ways for the soil and for the environment. Nancy Russell, CBC News, Oyster Bed Bridge.
Okay, coming up, we will introduce you to this 100-year-old who still enjoys going to work every single day. That's our Daily Lift. Darius is back after the break as well with a last check on our forecast. You're watching CBC Winnipeg News. RRC Polytech is launching a new centre to drive technology forward for Manitoba manufacturing. Today, it and the Price Institute officially opened its Centre for Automation and Manufacturing Technology, or CAMT. It will serve as a hub to allow businesses and students to learn and adopt the latest technologies.
But what is commonly forgotten is that innovation isn't just about developing new technology, but more importantly so, having the skills and knowledge that we need and an ecosystem to adopt existing technology within our businesses in Manitoba.
CAMT is the first of its kind in Manitoba and provides a space for business, faculty, and students to work with partners anywhere in the world.
Well, Riley, overnight tonight, our lows are staying right up around where our high was today, actually. We're not seeing temperatures drop too much at all. But once we get into tomorrow, we do see those lows start to come back down. Normal for Winnipeg this time of year is much closer to 0, so we're actually not looking too bad. But over the next few days, once those showers taper off tomorrow afternoon, we'll see some clearing skies into the evening and overnight, and then a few mainly sunny days for the weekend. And then that showery activity is expected to return on Monday as temperatures come down a bit as a cold front sweeps through. But then the sun comes back for most of next week, I would say. A little bit far out to say for sure. But overall, it's looking like a pretty nice weekend. And, you know, we can't complain about a few showers.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, Darius. Well, if you think you work hard and are thinking about retirement one day, perhaps this is someone you need to meet. She's 100 years young and has no plans of quitting anytime soon. The woman, believed to be Italy's oldest barista, is our Daily Lift. Let us introduce you to Anna Posi. Each day before dawn, she gets to work behind the counter to fire up the espresso machine, something she's done for more than 8 decades. Anna began her career in hospitality as a teenager at the end of the Second World War in a family restaurant. She and her late husband purchased their own place in the Italian Alps 65 years ago, and she's been working there ever since. Something else to celebrate, Anna's 101st birthday coming up November 16th. And you know what? I love my job so much that I just might be here when I'm that old as well. It would be a treat. And that is our program for this Thursday. Thank you so much for being with us. I'll see you again tomorrow. Have a wonderful evening.